Why Hollywood won't cast these 15 actors anymore. Hollywood is an interesting place. It's where dreams are created, superstars are born, and many of today's greatest movies are made. However, on the other hand, it can be a very ruthless place. In the fickle world of Hollywood, it's just as easy for a star to rise to fame as it is for them to fall out of the public's good graces. A couple of box office flops, some personal issues, or just the decision to take time off could spell career disaster. So here's a list of 15 actors who were famous or probably still are, but Hollywood won't cast them anymore.
That's amazing.
Isaiah Washington. Washington has been a Hollywood veteran for many years and has dozens of different television and movie credits to his name. Despite his many roles, the one he is known the best for is definitely his role as Preston Burke in Grey's Anatomy. However, he was let go from the show and essentially blacklisted by Hollywood after using a homophobic slur about a castmate. He also used the slur again after the show won a Golden Globe, which was the nail in the coffin. Vince Vaughn. A little over a decade ago, Vaughn was one of the busiest and most successful actors in Hollywood. However, as of recently, he hasn't been nearly as active in Hollywood. His blacklisting has been more subtle and is mainly due to his own limited range as an actor and his political views. While there's nothing wrong with being a conservative, when you publicly say that there should be guns in all schools to prevent mass shootings, that's something the studios might want to distance themselves from. He's also proven to be unable to excel in any role that isn't a goofy comedy and probably co-starring Owen Wilson, as seen by his awful season on HBO's True Detective. Mel Gibson. There was a time when Mel Gibson's star shone bright when he starred in blockbusters like the Lethal Weapon franchise and Braveheart, but it seems that his era has ended now. He proved that one wrong move could take a person down. Mel's meltdown in 2010 and passing racist comments turned his viewers and movie bigwigs against him. This was the beginning of his end. After a series of flop movies, directors turned their backs on him and he started producing his own movies, but all in vain. Macaulay Culkin. It's not easy to make the transition from child actor to adult star, especially when your child self is painfully cute. Macaulay Culkin became a household name courtesy of Home Alone and its sequels. He found himself in an unusual situation when he entered adulthood and was no longer suitable for his former roles. The actor struggled to find his place and began to slip out of Hollywood's graces. Culkin never completely stopped working, but it's pretty disheartening that his latest cinematic hits were 2003 and 2004's Party Monster and Saved. Culkin also shifted his efforts towards TV roles, but somehow playing himself on the Jim Gaffigan show doesn't seem as glamorous. Shia Lebeouf. Shia Labeouf's story feels a little tragic since there appears to be a good actor hiding away somewhere in this complicated individual. Labeouf just seems to be at a point where his antics and lifestyle supersede his ability. Labeouf has been part of an incredible selection of movies and headlined franchises like Transformers and worked with visionaries like Lars von Trier. In spite of the fortunate roles that the actor has played, his ego got the better of him. Labeouf's roles are disappearing as franchises have begun to replace his previously popular roles. In addition, his off-screen behavior has become too much of a liability. It's a shame, though, because there are various talented people who seem to genuinely want to help Labeouf, but he might not be able to see that. Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan is another actor who didn't do anything wrong, but rather the world just moved on and she got lost in the shuffle. One reason is the movie In the Cut from 2003, in which she starred opposite Mark Ruffalo. Meg, being dubbed for years as America's sweetheart, did a nude scene and was harshly chastised in the media for doing so. Also, she was just burnt out, and while being comfortable with being an actor, she wasn't comfortable with being a Hollywood star. It's a shame, though, because even some of Ryan's most recent hits like In the Cut and Kate and Leopold are from over 15 years ago. Kristen Stewart. The Twilight star earned fame as Bella Swan, but could not get a positive response as Snow White. Her scandal with her director while cheating on Robert Pattinson also proved to be pretty infamous and clobbering for her career. She's done a couple of average movies after that, such as American Ultra, but could not turn many heads towards her. Is it her dry acting or the fact that she can't smile properly? Who knows? Taylor Lautner. The Twilight Saga proved to be a springboard for Taylor Lautner, but it seems that the people just can't let go of Jacob's shadow over him. His movie Abduction should have been his getaway into real Hollywood, but the movie was a box office bomb and wasn't received well by the critics either. In addition to that, his huge salaries just plunged away the movie shelved for him. He was also accused of having showmances with co-stars, which is not a career-friendly thing to happen. Charlie Sheen. In terms of public breakdowns, there are none greater than Charlie Sheen. Once a talented actor and one of the highest-paid TV actors on the planet, Sheen is now mostly remembered for his drug-induced and very public freakout a few years back. Remember Winning and Tiger Blood? He lost his job on 2.5 Men, which paid him almost $2 million per episode. He was seen as a man who had clearly lost his marbles after decades of drinking and drugs. While he's worked a little bit since then, most companies still want to avoid Sheen and his ridiculous antics like the plague. Sheen has no one to blame his blacklisting on other than himself. You win. Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey used to be the toast of Hollywood and was able to take whatever job he wanted. He was doing a film called All the Money in the World when a scandal broke out that not only outed Kevin Spacey as gay, but also as an abuser who was sexually abusing young teen boys during his film run. Being gay wasn't a problem. It was the fact that it was the Me Too era and he wasn't going to get away from what he admitted to doing. He tried to claim they had had a relationship that ended badly, but Hollywood didn't buy it, and he was immediately thrown out of Hollywood. Although he had already done shooting for the movie, his role as John Paul Getty in the film was redone shot for shot by Chris Plummer in the space of 8 days. Katherine Heigl. Only a few years ago, Katherine Heigl was a leading lady and was highly sought after for a wide range of different roles. However, have you noticed she hasn't been acting in any high-profile roles recently? Well, it's no accident. Oh, yeah! Incredibly difficult to work with and is an absolute nightmare to deal with on set. Questioning scripts, refusing to leave her trailer, and ridiculous wardrobe requests are just some of the many complaints about her in Hollywood. Her many demands don't help. All in all, her reputation has stopped her from getting many roles she may have been considered for. Seann William Scott. This is an actor who found fame from American Pie in 1999. After that, he just lost it while receiving bad critiques and giving us a series of flops, such as Dude, Where's My Car?, The Dukes of Hazzard, and Movie 43. He has some of the worst ratings on Rotten Tomatoes. However, we are more likely to hear Scott than see him in the animated blockbuster franchise, The Ice Age. We can further hope that his career will be pointed in a good direction in the revival of Goon. Nicolas Cage. There was a Nicolas Cage era where he used to be everywhere and meant everything to everyone. He won numerous awards for his roles in Lord of War, The Rock, and Face Off.
For every 12 people on the planet. The only question is, how do we arm the other 11?
His career started to slant when he gave us a string of flops in 2006, such as The Wicker Man and Ghost Rider. Rumors are that since he got into huge debt, he had to land on these mediocre roles reluctantly. He had a small superhero vigilante role in the 2010 movie Kick-Ass. Since then, the audiences have not seen much of him.
Okay, luck don't cover it, JP. You got an angel looking after you.
Toby Maguire. Everyone likes to point directly at Toby Maguire's cringeworthy turn as emo Peter Parker in Spider-Man 3 and say, that, whatever that was, is what killed his career. While that's a fair assessment of that truly awkward performance, it's not the whole story. After the Spider-Man disaster, Toby tried to uplift his career by producing movies and doing other films, but nothing worked out for him. The nail in the coffin for Toby was when he was implicated in and ultimately paid a settlement for his involvement in an illegal poker club. Jim Carrey. There was a time a Carrey comedy was an automatic moneymaker, not to mention his successful dramas like The Truman Show and Man on the Moon. Carrey still makes movies, but he's not the A-lister he used to be. These days, most of his movie work comes in the forms of supporting roles and cameos. There are a few reasons for Carrey's diminished notoriety. For one, he's proven difficult to work with. His method acting antics during the making of Man on the Moon have become the stuff of legend, including refusing to take direction from director Milos Forman. He also refused to help promote Kick-Ass 2 because he wasn't comfortable with the film's violence in the wake of the Sandy Hook shooting. In recent years, his celebrity status has also taken a hit following the suicide of his ex-girlfriend, Katharine White, which spawned an ugly legal battle with no clear end in sight. Conclusion. That was it for today. What do you think about these actors? Are there any more reasons for them to be outcasts in Hollywood? Let me know in the comments below.
You have to leave now.
I'm not going anywhere.